Creativity isn't all sunshine and rainbows. Sometimes it's born in the dark. Friedrich Nietzsche, the philosopher who dared to question the foundations of morality and human existence, believed that to create something extraordinary, you must first embrace the monster within. Sounds intense, right? But what does it really mean to confront the monster? And how does it lead to creation? Let's break it down. Nietzsche's idea of the monster isn't about chaos or destruction. It's about tapping into the raw, untamed energy that lies dormant within us. This energy, often suppressed by societal norms and personal fears, holds the key to unlocking a deeper well of creativity. But this journey isn't for the faint-hearted. It demands courage to face the shadows, self-awareness to understand their origins, and a willingness to step into the unknown. By embracing the monster, we don't just create, we transform ourselves into creators capable of extraordinary things. In this exploration, we'll dive into Nietzsche's philosophy, his fascination with ancient cultures, and how the concept of the monster has been a recurring theme in human history. We'll also uncover how this idea applies to modern creativity, whether in art, innovation, or personal growth. By the end, you might just see your creative potential in a whole new light, and perhaps even feel inspired to confront your own inner monster. But be warned, this journey will challenge you to rethink what it means to create and what it means to be human. Contextualizing Nietzsche's idea of the monster. So, what exactly does Nietzsche mean by becoming a monster? It's not about turning into a villain or embracing chaos. Instead, it's about tapping into the raw, untamed energy that fuels creativity and innovation. Let's unpack this idea and see how Nietzsche's philosophy redefines what it means to be a creator. Nietzsche saw the monster as a symbol of raw, untamed energy, a force that exists beyond the boundaries of societal norms and moral judgments. This energy, often suppressed or labeled as dangerous, is precisely what fuels creativity and innovation. His idea is deeply rooted in his critique of traditional morality, which he believed stifled human potential by categorizing certain traits, like ambition, passion, and individuality, as bad or sinful. Nietzsche argued that these monstrous qualities are essential for breaking free from conformity and creating something extraordinary. By embracing the monster, we confront the parts of ourselves that society has taught us to fear or reject. In doing so, we unlock a deeper, more authentic source of creativity, one that allows us to challenge the status quo and bring something entirely new into the world. Nietzsche lived in a time of profound cultural and intellectual upheaval. The 19th century was marked by rapid industrialization, scientific advancements, and the decline of traditional religious beliefs. Nietzsche's philosophy emerged as a response to this shifting landscape, challenging the moral and cultural frameworks of his era. His personal struggles, including his declining health and isolation, also shaped his ideas. Nietzsche's own life became a testament to the power of embracing one's inner turmoil to create groundbreaking work. Central to Nietzsche's philosophy is his rejection of traditional morality, which he saw as a tool for suppressing human potential. In works like Beyond Good and Evil and On the Genealogy of Morals, he called for a revaluation of all values, a radical rethinking of what is considered good or evil. He believed that true creativity requires breaking free from societal constraints and embracing the full spectrum of human experience, including the so-called dark or monstrous aspects. The monster serves as a powerful metaphor for creativity in Nietzsche's work. It represents the untamed, chaotic energy that exists within all of us, an energy that, when harnessed, can lead to profound innovation and transformation. This metaphor also draws on ancient myths and cultural archetypes, where monsters often symbolize the unknown, the forbidden, and the transformative. Nietzsche saw these stories as evidence of humanity's enduring fascination with the power of the monstrous. Nietzsche's concept of the Dionysian. Nietzsche's idea of the monster is closely tied to his concept of the Dionysian, inspired by the Greek god Dionysus, who represents chaos, ecstasy, and the breaking of boundaries. The Dionysian is the antithesis of the Apollonian, which symbolizes order, reason, and structure. For Nietzsche, true creativity arises from the tension between these two forces. The monster embodies the Dionysian, the chaotic, irrational, and primal energy that disrupts the status quo and allows for new forms of expression. The role of suffering and struggle. Nietzsche believed that suffering and struggle are not obstacles to creativity, but essential components of it. He famously said, "What does not kill me makes me stronger." The monster within represents the struggles we face, our fears, doubts, and inner conflicts. By confronting these struggles head-on, we transform them into sources of strength and inspiration. This process of overcoming is what Nietzsche called self-overcoming, a key aspect of becoming a creator. The Übermensch. The concept of the Übermensch is central to Nietzsche's philosophy. The Übermensch is someone who transcends societal norms and creates their own values. To become an Übermensch, one must embrace the monster within, the raw, untamed energy that allows for self-creation and innovation. The Übermensch is not bound by conventional morality, but instead creates their own path, driven by their inner creative force. Cultural and artistic examples. Nietzsche's idea of the monster as a creator can be seen in various cultural and artistic movements. For example, the Romantic era celebrated the mad genius, artists and thinkers who embraced their inner turmoil to produce groundbreaking work. Similarly, modern creators like Frida Kahlo, Vincent van Gogh, and Friedrich Nietzsche himself channeled their personal struggles and monstrous energies into their art, leaving a lasting impact on the world. Psychological perspective. From a psychological standpoint, Nietzsche's monster can be linked to Carl Jung's concept of the shadow. The shadow represents the parts of ourselves that we repress or deny, our fears, desires, and instincts. Jung believed that integrating the shadow is essential for personal growth and creativity. Nietzsche's call to embrace the monster aligns with this idea, suggesting that by confronting and integrating our shadow selves, we unlock a deeper well of creative potential. Nietzsche as a philosopher of creativity. Nietzsche wasn't just a philosopher, he was a psychologist of the human soul. Let's dive deeper into his revolutionary ideas and uncover how they challenge our understanding of creativity. True creativity, according to Nietzsche, emerges from confronting the darker, untamed parts of ourselves. These monstrous aspects, often suppressed by societal norms, hold the key to unlocking our creative potential. Traditional morality, heavily influenced by Christianity and Platonic ideals, was seen as a tool for suppressing creativity and innovation. By labeling certain traits, like ambition, passion, and individuality, as sinful or dangerous, these systems stifled human potential and discouraged originality. By confronting these societal constraints and embracing the monster within, we can tap into a deeper, more authentic source of creativity. This process allows us to break free from conformity and create something truly extraordinary. Critique of modern society. Modern society was viewed as a place where creativity was stifled by rigid moral systems and cultural norms. Christianity and Platonic philosophy were criticized for promoting values like humility, obedience, and self-denial, which discouraged individuality and innovation. In works like Thus Spoke Zarathustra and The Gay Science, the argument was made that these systems created a herd mentality, where people were conditioned to follow rules rather than think for themselves. This was seen as a barrier to true creativity, which requires breaking free from societal expectations and embracing one's unique perspective. The critique extended to the arts and culture of the time, which were believed to have become stagnant and repetitive. A new kind of creator was called for, one who was willing to challenge conventions and explore uncharted territory. The ideas presented had a profound influence on existentialism, a philosophical movement that emphasizes individual freedom and the search for meaning. Thinkers like Jean-Paul Sartre and Albert Camus drew on the concept of self-creation, arguing that individuals must define their own values in a world without inherent meaning. The emphasis on individualism also resonated with later psychologists and philosophers, such as Carl Jung and Michel Foucault. Jung's concept of the shadow aligns with the idea of the monster, as both emphasize the importance of integrating repressed aspects of the self to achieve personal growth and creativity. Unlike many contemporaries, the idea of objective truth or universal morality was rejected. Instead, subjectivity and personal experience were celebrated, with the argument that creativity arises from the unique perspective of the individual. The abyss of creativity. The metaphor of the abyss was often used to describe the process of confronting societal constraints and embracing the unknown. True creativity requires stepping into this abyss, facing the fears, doubts, and uncertainties that come with breaking free from tradition. In Thus Spoke Zarathustra, the line, "When you stare into the abyss stares back at you," captures the transformative power of confronting the darker aspects of existence. By staring into the abyss, we not only confront our fears, but also discover the raw, untamed energy that fuels creativity. The concept of the abyss also highlights the risks involved in the creative process. Creativity is not a safe or comfortable endeavor. It requires vulnerability, courage, and a willingness to fail. But these risks are essential for creating something truly original and meaningful. The role of chaos in creativity. Chaos is seen as a necessary precursor to creation. Just as the universe emerged from chaos, so too does creativity arise from the disruption of order. The monster represents this chaotic energy, which can be harnessed to challenge existing structures and create something new. This idea is reflected in the concept of eternal recurrence, which suggests that life is a cycle of creation and destruction. To embrace creativity, we must accept the inevitability of chaos and learn to thrive within it. The artist as a creator god. The artist is often described as a creator god, someone who brings new worlds into existence through their work. This idea challenges the traditional view of the artist as a mere imitator of nature. The artist is a visionary who transforms chaos into order, giving form to the formless. This concept also reflects the broader philosophy of self-creation. Just as the artist creates a work of art, individuals must create themselves by embracing their inner monster and defining their own values. Great art often emerges from personal struggle, as the artist channels their pain into their work. This idea is exemplified in the life of Nietzsche himself, who struggled with illness and isolation while producing some of his most influential works. The ability to transform suffering into creativity serves as a powerful example of this philosophy in action. The Greek spirit and the birth of the monster. To understand Nietzsche's idea of the monster, we need to look back at the ancient Greeks. Nietzsche was fascinated by their culture, especially their embrace of life's darker, more chaotic aspects. Let's explore why the Greeks held such a profound influence on his philosophy and how their worldview shaped his concept of creativity. The pre-Socratic Greeks were admired for their embrace of life's darker, more chaotic aspects. Unlike later thinkers like Plato, they didn't divide the world into rigid categories of good and evil. Instead, they saw life as a dynamic interplay of opposites, order and chaos, light and dark, creation and destruction. Figures like Dionysus, the god of wine, ecstasy, and chaos, symbolize the untamed, monstrous side of human nature that Nietzsche believed we needed to reclaim. Dionysus represented the raw, primal energy that fuels creativity and transformation. The Greeks understood that true creativity comes from balancing chaos and order, not suppressing one in favor of the other. This balance was central to their art, philosophy, and way of life, and it became a cornerstone of Nietzsche's philosophy. The Greeks' view of life as a balance of opposites. The ancient Greeks, particularly in the pre-Socratic era, viewed life as a harmonious tension between opposing forces. This worldview was reflected in their mythology, art, and philosophy, where gods and concepts often embodied dualities. For example, Apollo and Dionysus represented two fundamental aspects of existence. Apollo symbolized reason, order, and structure, while Dionysus embodied chaos, ecstasy, and the irrational. The Greeks did not see these forces as enemies, but as complementary elements that needed to coexist for a fulfilling and creative life. This balance was evident in Greek tragedy, where the interplay of fate and free will, suffering and redemption, created profound artistic expressions. Nietzsche saw this as a model for how creativity could emerge from the tension between opposing forces. Critique of Plato's duality. While Nietzsche admired the pre-Socratic Greeks, he was critical of later philosophers like Plato, who introduced a rigid duality between the world of forms, ideal, eternal truths, and the world of appearances. Plato's philosophy, which heavily influenced Western thought, prioritized order and reason over chaos and instinct. Nietzsche argued that this duality stifled creativity by devaluing the chaotic, emotional, and instinctual aspects of human nature. In contrast to Plato, Nietzsche believed that true creativity required embracing both the rational and the irrational, the orderly and the chaotic. He saw the pre-Socratic Greeks as embodying this holistic approach, which he sought to revive in his own philosophy. The role of Dionysus in Nietzsche's philosophy. Dionysus, the god of wine, fertility, and ecstasy, played a central role in Nietzsche's thought. In The Birth of Tragedy, Nietzsche explored the concept of the Dionysian as a force that breaks down boundaries and dissolves individuality, allowing for a deeper connection to the primal essence of life. This Dionysian energy, when balanced with the Apollonian, order and reason, gave rise to Greek tragedy, one of the highest forms of artistic expression. Nietzsche saw the Dionysian as a metaphor for the creative process itself. To create something new, one must first descend into chaos, confront the monster, and then emerge with a new vision. This process mirrors the cycle of destruction and creation that Dionysus represents. The Apollonian and Dionysian in art and culture. The interplay between the Apollonian and Dionysian is not limited to ancient Greece. It can be seen in various artistic movements throughout history, from the structured beauty of the Renaissance to the chaotic energy of Romanticism and modern abstract art. Nietzsche believed that great art arises from the tension between these two forces. For example, a symphony combines the structured harmony of the Apollonian with the emotional intensity of the Dionysian, creating a powerful and transformative experience. The monstrous in myth and symbolism. Monsters and chaotic figures appear in myths and stories across cultures, from the Minotaur in Greek mythology to the trickster figures in Native American folklore. These symbols represent the untamed, unpredictable aspects of existence that Nietzsche believed were essential for creativity. By reclaiming these symbols and integrating them into our understanding of ourselves, we can access the raw energy needed to create something truly original. Modern applications of the Dionysian. The Dionysian spirit can be seen in modern movements that challenge societal norms and embrace chaos, such as punk rock, surrealism, and even certain forms of activism. These movements embody the idea that creativity often arises from disruption and rebellion. Nietzsche's philosophy encourages us to see these chaotic forces not as threats, but as opportunities for growth and transformation. 5. The will to power and the monster within. At the heart of Nietzsche's philosophy is the concept of the will to power. But what does this mean, and how does it connect to the idea of becoming a monster? Let's break it down. The will to power is Nietzsche's term for the fundamental drive behind all human behavior. It's not just about dominance over others, but about self-mastery and self-overcoming. To fully realize our will to power, we must embrace the monster within, the raw, untamed energy that fuels our creativity and ambition. This doesn't mean giving in to every impulse, but learning to channel our darker instincts in productive ways. It's the force that pushes us to overcome obstacles, pursue our goals, and realize our potential. Nietzsche saw this drive as the essence of life itself, manifesting in everything from artistic creation to personal growth. How embracing the monster can lead to self-mastery. Embracing the monster within means acknowledging and integrating our darker instincts, our fears, desires, and impulses. This process requires self-awareness and discipline. By channeling this energy, we can transform it into a source of strength and creativity, rather than letting it control or consume us. Examples of how this idea applies to modern life. In modern life, the will to power can be seen in entrepreneurs who take risks to build something new, artists who push boundaries to create groundbreaking work, and individuals who overcome personal challenges to achieve their goals. These examples show how embracing the monster within, the raw, untamed energy of ambition and creativity, can lead to extraordinary achievements. 6. The abyss and the danger of becoming a monster. Confronting the monster within isn't without risks. Nietzsche warned that staring into the abyss, the darker aspects of our nature, can consume us if we're not careful. So, how do we navigate this dangerous terrain? Let's explore the challenges and rewards of embracing the abyss, and how we can emerge stronger on the other side. Nietzsche's metaphor of the abyss represents the darker, chaotic aspects of our inner selves. Staring into it means confronting our fears, insecurities, and repressed instincts, a process that can be both transformative and perilous. The danger lies in losing ourselves to the abyss. Without self-awareness and discipline, the raw energy of the monster can overwhelm us, leading to self-destruction or chaos rather than creativity and growth. The key is integration, not domination. By acknowledging and channeling these darker aspects, we can harness their power without being consumed by them. This balance is exemplified in Nietzsche's concept of the Übermensch, who embodies self-mastery and creative potential. The abyss as a symbol of inner darkness. The abyss is one of Nietzsche's most powerful metaphors, representing the unknown, the chaotic, and the repressed aspects of the human psyche. It's the place where our deepest fears, desires, and instincts reside, waiting to be confronted. In Thus Spoke Zarathustra, Nietzsche writes, "When you stare into the abyss stares back at you." This line captures the reciprocal nature of confronting the abyss. The act of looking into our inner darkness changes us, forcing us to confront truths about ourselves that we might prefer to ignore. The abyss is not inherently evil or destructive. It's a source of raw energy and potential. But like any powerful force, it must be approached with caution and respect. The dangers of confronting the abyss. Confronting the abyss is psychologically demanding. It requires us to face aspects of ourselves that we've spent years or even decades repressing. This process can trigger feelings of fear, guilt, and vulnerability. Without proper self-awareness and discipline, the abyss can consume us. For example, someone who embraces their monstrous side without balance might become reckless, self-destructive, or overwhelmed by their emotions. Nietzsche's warning about the abyss is a reminder that self-exploration is not a one-time event, but an ongoing process. It requires constant reflection, self-discipline, and a willingness to adapt and grow. The Übermensch and the balance of chaos and order. The Übermensch is Nietzsche's ideal of someone who has successfully navigated the abyss. This individual has confronted their inner darkness, integrated it into their personality, and emerged stronger and more creative. The Übermensch embodies the balance between chaos and order. They harness the raw energy of the monster without being controlled by it, using it to fuel their creativity, ambition, and self-mastery. This concept challenges traditional notions of morality and selfhood. The Übermensch does not follow societal rules blindly, but creates their own values, guided by their inner strength and vision. The role of self-awareness in navigating the abyss. Self-awareness is crucial for confronting the abyss. It allows us to recognize our fears, desires, and instincts without being overwhelmed by them. Practices like meditation, journaling, and therapy can help cultivate this awareness. For example, someone who struggles with anger might use self-awareness to understand the root causes of their emotions and channel that energy into productive outlets, such as art or activism. The importance of purpose in channeling the monster. A strong sense of purpose is essential for navigating the abyss. It provides direction and meaning, helping us channel the raw energy of the monster into constructive pursuits. Nietzsche believed that creating one's own values and goals is a key part of this process. By defining what matters most to us, we can transform chaos into creation and darkness into light. Examples of the Übermensch in modern life. The Übermensch is not a distant ideal but a concept that can be applied to modern life. Figures like Nelson Mandela, who transformed his suffering into a force for change, or artists like Marina Abramović, who confronts the limits of human experience in her work, embody the balance of chaos and order. These individuals demonstrate how confronting the abyss and embracing the monster can lead to extraordinary achievements and personal growth. The risks of ignoring the abyss. Ignoring the abyss can be just as dangerous as being consumed by it. Repressing our darker instincts and emotions can lead to stagnation, resentment, and even self-destruction. Nietzsche's philosophy encourages us to confront the abyss head-on, using its energy to fuel our creativity and growth. This approach requires courage and resilience, but offers the potential for profound transformation. The abyss in art and literature. The abyss is a recurring theme in art and literature, from the existential works of Dostoevsky to the surreal paintings of Salvador Dali. These creators explore the darker aspects of human nature, using their art to confront and transform the abyss. Their work serves as a reminder that the abyss is not something to be feared, but a source of inspiration and creativity. 7. Nietzsche's call for a new morality. Nietzsche didn't just want us to embrace the monster, he wanted us to create a new morality. But what does this new morality look like, and how does it differ from what we've been taught? Let's explore Nietzsche's radical vision for a morality that celebrates strength, creativity, and individuality. Traditional morality, as Nietzsche saw it, was rooted in the values of Christianity and Platonic philosophy. These systems promoted humility, obedience, and self-denial, which he believed stifled human potential and creativity. In works like On the Genealogy of Morals, Nietzsche argued that these values were created to serve the interests of the weak and the herd, rather than fostering individual greatness. He saw them as tools for suppressing the strong and the creative, labeling their traits as sinful or dangerous. Nietzsche's call for a revaluation of all values was a radical challenge to these systems. He believed it was time to create a new morality that celebrated strength, ambition, and individuality, rather than punishing them. The benefits of embracing the monster. Embracing the monster within means confronting and integrating the darker, more chaotic aspects of our nature. This process, while challenging, can lead to greater self-awareness, creativity, and personal growth. By acknowledging our fears, desires, and instincts, we can transform them into sources of strength and inspiration. This integration allows us to tap into a deeper well of creativity and ambition, enabling us to achieve extraordinary things. Nietzsche believed that this process of self-overcoming was essential for becoming a true individual. It requires courage, discipline, and a willingness to confront the unknown. But the rewards, greater authenticity and fulfillment, are well worth the effort. How this new morality could transform society. Nietzsche's new morality would prioritize individual growth and self-expression over conformity and obedience. It would encourage people to define their own values and pursue their unique potential rather than adhering to societal norms. This shift could lead to a more dynamic and creative society, where innovation and originality are celebrated. It would challenge the status quo and create space for new ideas and perspectives to flourish. However, Nietzsche also recognized the risks of this new morality. Without a strong sense of purpose and self-discipline, the embrace of individuality could lead to chaos and selfishness. The key is to balance freedom with responsibility, ensuring that personal growth contributes to the greater good. The role of the Übermensch in the new morality. The Übermensch is Nietzsche's ideal of someone who has embraced the new morality. This individual creates their own values, guided by their inner strength and vision, rather than following societal rules. The Übermensch represents the potential of human greatness, showing us what is possible when we embrace our full potential, including the monstrous aspects of our nature. For example, someone who embraces this new morality might take a bold career risk, such as starting their own business or pursuing a creative passion. While this path is fraught with uncertainty, it also offers the potential for extraordinary fulfillment and success. From the counterculture of the 1960s to today's emphasis on self-expression and personal growth, these movements reflect Nietzsche's vision of a morality that prioritizes creativity and individuality. However, they also highlight the challenges of balancing freedom with responsibility, showing us that the new morality requires both courage and discipline. Nietzsche's philosophy challenges us to embrace the full spectrum of human nature, including the darker, untamed aspects that society often suppresses. This isn't about becoming a villain or embracing chaos. It's about tapping into the raw energy that fuels creativity, ambition, and self-mastery. This process is at the heart of Nietzsche's vision for a more fulfilling and meaningful life. So, are you ready to stare into the abyss and embrace the monster within? The choice is yours.